Good evening, Ridgeruckers fans everywhere. Welcome to the Week 8 recap video of the 2022 fantasy football season. I am your host, the media, the Corrupt News Network, the one and only. That's right. And we're coming at you live from an undisclosed location. It was a good week. I managed to squeak out a victory, and that's exactly what it was. My backup quarterback sucked, but the rest of the team was able to pull him through. And because of the failure of my opponent's kicker putting up 0 points, I was able to pull out a W, which was critical to bring me back to 500, which is necessary in the coming weeks. Yeah, so that's cool. All that being said, let's get right into it. Before we go any further, however, we need to start with the disclaimer. This is a comedy, okay? The opinions expressed herein are probably not my own, nor the individual even making the comment at the time. If you are my employer, a future employer, a previous employer, a neighbor, a friend, a coworker, someone I know, nobody I know, and you're offended by this, stop watching. Okay? If you're easily offended, if you need safe places, if you consider yourself to be a snowflake or someone that the world gives a shit about, this video is not for you. We're here to talk trash, sometimes say intelligent things, and talk about fantasy football. So again, if you find yourself offended by this, it's a comedy. Get over it. Before we get into the results from Week 8, I want to do a little public service announcement. This is, of course, right before Election Day, coming up on Tuesday. I would like to encourage everyone to get out and vote. It's important. It's your American duty. It's what makes us different from a lot of other people in the world. That's kind of a question mark at this point. But the perception of voting making a difference is what makes us a lot different from a lot of people in the world. That being said, I would like to encourage you to pencil in our own commissioner as the soil deputy in our county. That's right. Just write the commissioner, they'll know who you mean. All right. This week, the media defeated Suckaditka 97 to 94 points. Social Justice Warrior. Tough beat by the Dynasty Reimagined, 130 to 145 points. And you'll see this as a theme coming up. Really crazy week with scores. Game of the week had Devontae's Inferno, currently known as Your Worst Nightmare, putting up the league low 81.70 points against Avoid the Noid's measly 96. Where'd that come from? But a win's a win. And yeah, I'm sure he's happy that worked out. Jags spanked the Booty Lickers, putting up the league high 153.28 points. Good job for them. Finally firing on all cylinders and appearing actually on the stat line to be as good as they do look on paper. Of course, led by Tyreek Hill's ridiculously good season with Tua throwing in the ball. Booty Lickers put up a respectable 137. Missing My Young-Ho defeated Gender Unicorn 147 to 133. Which, like I said, just kind of rounds out the week's ridiculous scores. And Nut Butt Sacks lost to the Roster Baiters, neighbor rivalry there, 116 to 121 points. So lots of big scores this week that had a pretty large effect on the standings. Good job to everyone except for myself, Suckaditka, Avoid the Noid, and Your Worst Nightmare, who didn't even break 100 points. Yeah, that sucks. But like I said, a win's a win. We'll take it. All right, those results bring our standings to Avoid the Noid still holding on to the number 1 spot after 4 wins in a row. Booty Lickers managing to hang on to number 2 even with the loss. Missing My Young-Ho climbed 2 spots to 3rd. Justice Warrior fell to 4th. Roster Baiters and myself climb into 5th and 6th. I'm back in the winner's bracket where I belong, so yay me. Suckaditka falls 3 spots after losing their 4th in a row to 7th. Jags in 8th. Gender Unicorn in 9th, Dynasty Reimagined 10th, Nut and Butt Sacks in 11th, and Your Worst Nightmare still in the caboose spot with only 1 win this season. They've got 1 more according to them. Who will it be? All right, we have a treat for you this week. We have 2 games of the week. That's right, 2 of them. We'll get to those last. Gender Unicorn plays Dynasty Reimagined. I really want to see some trash talk in there. Both those 2 are idiots. And they say some dumb shit, so it's worth watching. Social Justice Warrior goes up against Your Worst Nightmare, in which should be a win for Social Justice Warrior. Booty Lickers plays Suckaditka in the Dick Bowl. And Nothing But Sacks goes up against Jack's Jags. That should also be a fun game. All right, so game of the week number 1 has Missing My Young Ho going up against the Roster Baiters. That's number 3 and 5, which one of those teams is going away with the win because that's how it works. And that should upset the standings pretty significantly. The other game of the week is a repeat of last year's championship game. That has me, the media, going up against Avoid the Noid. Now, if you remember, last year's championship game left a lot to be desired on the scoreboard, and Avoid the Noid took the win because they sucked less than myself. Now, I'm hoping for a little redemption. We need another W. So, game of the week number 2 right there. So keep an eye on both of those. They will have impacts on the standings. All right, we didn't have a whole lot of comments this week, but I did speak with a few of the owners. All right, Nothing But Sacks had a tough loss against the Roster Baiters, and I was asked him how he's going to turn it around. It's been a tough season so far, and I don't see things improving much. That's the right attitude. My players mock me, and I overheard one of them say, my only purpose in life was to become an organ donor. How can I coach assholes like that? I don't know. Each and every one of them laughed in the locker room will be benched for week 9, and we will chalk it up as a loss. Well, that's good news for Jack's Jags. The Booty Lickers, the commissioner, and the owner of Jack's Jags all refused to speak to the media this week. Bad attitudes. I asked the Roster Baiters about their win over Nothing But Sacks this week and asked him if Missing My Young Ho was going to present any kind of challenge in week 9. This is what he had to say. A once Yahoo proclaimed team of simps, I don't know what that means, is now on the 5-game winning streak. Did the general manager outsmart the experts, or is this pure fantasy luck? I'm going with luck. Missing My Young Ho will be tough sledding as we are riddled with byes and injuries this week. We are going to need some big plays from the bench. As long as we can stay healthy and avoid being trade raped by the likes of Jack's, Jags, and others, we've got a shot at the playoffs. Playoffs? Who's talking about playoffs? Team owner of Social Justice Warrior had a pretty fatalistic outlook on his loss to the commissioner. Not really sure if there's much I can do when his 2 running backs put up 30-plus points each. It's true. And finally, your league leader, Avoid the Noid, had this to say about his scrimping victory. I don't know what that means either. Over your worst nightmare. This was a rough week for my team, but we scored more points than our opponent, and that is all that matters. Truth. It's like my grandma always said, in a zombie apocalypse, it doesn't matter if you were the fastest runner, just as long as you were faster than someone else. I like your grandma. I'd probably do her. As far as my biggest challenge, the rest of the season will be coming up with ways to incorporate Domino's Pizza into my weekly comments. Because as Avoid the Noid, I feel like it's my duty to warn my league about the duty that will result when friends let friends eat Domino's Pizza. And finally, to you, the media, me, the media, my opponent this week, you are crooked, unethical, and sit on a throne of lies, especially when you say stand with Aaron. We all know you don't, much like the championship last year. I will take a stand against your corruption and defeat the evil media empire. USA, USA, USA. P.S. Domino's Pizza sucks. All right, folks, that's it. That's a wrap for the Week 8 recap video. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope we improved your vocabulary this week. And as always, remember, fantasy football is really the only thing that matters right now, even more so than the election. So talk trash, beat your neighbor. Have a good night.